Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. So today I'm going to begin a project where I'm collaborating with the Essential Craftsman, Scott, and his son Nate. And they have a Wilton Vise that they've been working on a restoration for this vise. I believe this is a vise that belonged to Nate, which is Scott's son. And it was one that he was fixing up, cleaning up, and he had asked me if I'd be interested in helping him machine a new handle for this vise. So this is the handle off of the Wilton Vise right there. That's the original handle that they took off. And so Scott, being the blacksmith that he is, forged up a new handle that they would like to use for this Wilton Vise. And whenever they emailed me, they told me that they forged this and was wondering if I would be interested in helping them machine this into a proper handle to fit the vise. And of course, I told them that I would love to collaborate with them on this project and help them. This is something that I love being able to do, is to collaborate with some other YouTubers out there and to work with them on these other projects. So I thought this was going to be excellent and fun to do, and I'm finally getting around to it. You know, this started way back in November of last year, and then I actually got to meet both Scott and Nate at the Good to the Land Fest in Texas. So if you haven't seen their channel, you should check that out, the Essential Craftsman. We'll have a card up here for you to click on. Both great people. I know that Scott's up in the Oregon area, and he has excellent videos. I love watching his videos. He is somebody that I just love to listen to. He is such a smart individual, and he has so much love for the craft of blacksmithing and any of the trade skills out there. So it's really an honor to be able to work with him on anything really, you know, but something like this where he's using his blacksmith skills to forge out this handle, and then he wants me to actually machine it to size, and then I'll send it back to them and they put it back together with this rebuilt Wilton Vise. It's pretty cool. So we'll pull the camera down here a little bit closer so you can see this thing up close, and we'll talk about what we're going to do. So here's the handle that Scott forged up, and he said that he had a little bit of video of making this that he was going to send to me and share with me. So I wanted to share a little bit of that on my video here of him making this. He said that he used a piece of a spring off of a locomotive, off of a train, and straightened it and forged it into what you see here. So very interesting. I did check it. It's machinable. It's not hardened or anything. It's not too tough where we can't machine it. The file cuts it. So we do have a little void on the end right here on this ball here. So what we need to do, what I would like to do, is go ahead and fill this area up with some weld. Build this up, because I want to actually cut these into true radiuses down here on the ends. You know, cut the balls on the end right here. We'll cut this off. So we'll build this up, and then on this end as well, it's a little bit lacking there on the very tip. So we'll build this end up there as well. So hopefully we can get a nice true radius all the way around the corner there, all the way around. And in the center, it is not perfectly straight, so we'll just see how it goes as we get into it. We may have to do a little bit of straightening, but we may get lucky enough to where we can chuck one end of this and use the center and the other end there, and then be able to turn this down. You can see that the original handle is a little bit smaller. So measuring the original handle is somewhere around, I think it was 11, yeah, so 11/16. So 11/16 being 687. And I believe they forged this to around 3/4. Yep. So we have about 16th, which is actually not a lot, especially since it's not perfectly straight. So I'm not sure exactly how it's going to go, but we'll find out as we get involved. I believe the way that I want to do this, they gave me just free reign to just machine it any way that I wanted to. And I think I would like to do the machinist method instead of the more blacksmith welding method. I'd like to cut one end off and machine it with threads where it screws back together. And on their end, they could either Loctite it so that it's held together nice and firm, or you could possibly drill it and put a pin in there, you know, to hold it together. That's kind of how this one, that's how it looks like it was originally done, was with a pin. But you could definitely, after it's screwed together nice and tight, hold this thing in a vise, in a mill or a drill, and drill through it and install a pin. But we'll probably cut, I don't know which end yet, we'll cut one end off, we'll drill and tap the ball, and then we'll turn and thread the rod here. We'll just use the rod here, cut our threads, and then have it to where it'll screw together. All right? So that is our plan. We're going to use the Monarch lathe to do our turning on the handle here. And I went ahead and swapped out the, I took the 4-jaw off, and I put my new 6-jaw over here. And I put the 3-jaw on over there on the Victor. The Victor lathe just doesn't have the rigidity that the Monarch lathe does for cutting the radiuses and things like that. So what I wanted to try to do to machine the radiuses, to use these corner round end mills. You can put these in your tool holders, and these work really good for cutting outside radiuses, and they even work, you can use it for an internal radius as well. So you can put them in your tool holder. I've got this one set up because we're going to try this one right here. So this radius right here is actually a custom grind for a 9/16 radius. So we're going to try that one first, and if we need to reduce the size of the ball down, we can go to this. This is a 1/2 inch radius right there. Alright, so we're just going to use our 6-jaw, and we're going to go ahead and just get one side started. So we're going to go ahead and put it in here, and I want to try to get one side of the ball machined round and get a center in there. So I'm going to chuck it, see how it looks like it's spinning, and we may have to do some adjustments. I know it looks like it might be running out quite a bit. The ball is not perfectly concentric with the center of the handle there. Got it set at 59 RPM. Using some of my dark cutting oil, keep it pretty well lubed up here. Let's see if I got that thing on center. Looks pretty good. All right, so we got this, most of the ball kind of roughed out right there, and I think it's pretty close to where we want it. And that's as far as around that I can get the tool without getting into the chuck right there. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this area down to kind of true it up with the ball there as well. We're going to use this tool right there, go in there and undercut that. And then I also want to put a center in that as well, so that we can pull that out and then have a true area right there to chuck on and go from there. Just working this area by hand. Let's see what kind of measurement we're getting on that. All right, so we don't have much to come off that. I'm just going to see if I can clean it up a little bit more. See if I can knock some of this high spot down. I'm gonna see if I can get lucky, run this thing in reverse and cut it on the back side there. It's looking like that's going to do exactly what I need right there. And we can use that radius tool to just blend in that corner. I think that's going to do it right there, guys. All right, so one side of this is done there now. So I'm just going to take it out, and my hopes is that I might get lucky and be able to do some turning on this, but we may end up having to do a little bit of manipulating or straightening on this to be able to get it to turn. So I'm thinking about maybe seeing how it does if we stretch. I don't know if it's going to do very well. We're just going to play around with this. Yeah, I can tell it's really, I may have to use like a wire, put put something around it so that it's not chucking the whole thing. May even try this. I don't know how far off that ball is, but we're going to look at it and see. It's not that bad. I'll go ahead and spin it up. You can see it's, considering the I don't really have a whole lot of metal to turn off this OD right here. I don't think it's going to clean that up, and it's just because the ball here is not running concentric with this. So really what I need to do, I need to be able to chuck here and be able to turn some of this true so that we can flip it around and then turn the rest of that and get everything kind of running true with each other, and then finish it all once we got a true area. So what we may try to do is see if we can slip a ring or something around this area down here and then chuck that so that we're clamped here on the shaft, and then turn this area. And then once we have this area turned here, do like we did before, chuck it on that and then turn the ball true to the center. All right, I've got my little ring made. You can see it right up in there. That's just a brass welding rod that I cut and just bent around the rod right there. Just kind of hammered it a little bit, used some pliers, bent it around there, and so the chuck is just chucking that piece of rod stock right there. So we're checked to run there. And these are some marks that I put on there with my soapstone, because this is a little bit bent. And what I've done, I've been going back and forth to the hydraulic press, putting just slight amount of bend on it, just trying to straighten this out a little bit without going too far. And I've got it about where I want it. I would like to get it a little bit closer than that, but I think we might be able to get it cleaned up right about there. It was a lot worse than that. And so those are my high spots right there. But with this not being round, it's actually hitting on, you know, the high spots. As you can see, it's touching like 180 right there. So I'm going to see how it cleans up right there now. Pretty consistent low spot all the way down that side there. Don't know if we're going to get it all. This was our finished pass, and you can see that we have a little low area that didn't clean up there. And it looks like as we're getting into this side here, we're going to have a low area on that side. So it's probably going to be the same on both sides. You're going to have a little bit of a low area that doesn't clean up. So I really wanted this to be a handle that was fully machined from end to end, but we're going to end up having these low spots in there. So I think that's going to be okay. So it'll be a handle that has both the machined aspect and still has some of the forged features in there as well, from from what Scott had done. So that's just what we're left with. I just needed a little bit more material out there. I needed this diameter to be a little bit bigger so that we could clean that up. So I'm going to polish this now because that is a rough cut there. I've got it right on the 11/16 size, and that's going to take a couple thousandths off of that. I'm just going to polish it with some emery to smooth it out, and then we're going to take this out and flip it around and start finishing the other side there. All right, we got her polished and I just flipped it around. I'm happy with the way this is looking. So hopefully that's going to clean up. It's running pretty straight, and I know this is going to clean up well too, so not too bad right there. We'll go ahead and get a center in the end of it here to support the rod and get the shank of it turned. That's doing pretty good. Only a few low spots. There's probably going to be a few low spots right there, maybe right there. Just going to get a mic on it right here and see what I got left to come off. That'll be my final cut there. The rest of it I'll just polish in. Alright, so we just finished turning this end of the handle right there. So here's the original handle. And I verified the length of this handle with my Wilton Vise over there. I've got the same exact handle, same diameter, same length and everything. And so I spoke with Scott, and he wants to make this, the new handle, the same length as the old one there. So we are going to end up shortening this. We're going to end up cutting this and removing some of this metal there, so it's not going to be that long. I was trying to decide on which end that we're going to cut, so we're probably going to remove this section right here that's got more of this void in there. But what I want to do is go ahead and finish machining this ball on this end and get this finished to the shape, and then what we'll do is go ahead and cut it, and we're going to do it similar to how like I had done the reed vise handle. It kind of looked like this here. So the handle will be cut, will be turned, threaded, and then the ball, we'll set the ball up, drill and tap it so that it screws onto the handle. And then the last step that can be done is you can drill through and pin it together.